the society, the people at the bottom of the pyramid. We all have different roles to play to make this vision achievable as I believe it is.
With leadership and sense of purpose, we can lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years.
And if Nigeria must take her place among the Committee of Nations as a leading light on the continent, it must ensure that we continuously work towards ensuring inclusivity and all forms of poverty, fight inequalities, while ensuring that no one is left behind.
Everyone likes a good meal, especially if it is prepared with fresh fish, such as those from the fresh waters of Ekpe. This is Ekpe, a town located on longitude 4 east and latitude 6.31 north, and approximately about 89 kilometers from Lagos. Ekpe presents a picturesque setting with its location on a slightly elevated land ranging between 30 to 60 meters above sea level. Ekpe is a riverine town with its waters bounded by a thick mangrove swamp. Therefore, the occupations of the people traditionally include fishing, farming, carving, weaving, canoe building, fishnet, and fish trap making. However, like any other riverine community in Nigeria, fishing and fishing activities remain at top of the pack. It has assumed a prime importance and an industry that has become a symbol of civic pride to the people of Ekpe. It is therefore no exaggeration to assert that Ekpe remains the fish empire of Lagos State. The uniqueness of the people to perpetuate their traditional way of life is reflected through their organized approach in matters of fishing. Most times, it is family business, integrating entire members. Irrespective of scale, whether from a traditional subsistent level, using paddled canoes, to bigger boats using outboard engines, or to a large-scale dragnet system, the fishes are now at the mercy of the fishermen. Through cooperatives and other organized associations, many fishermen have been able to weather the storm. There is a customary practice by which middlemen are engaged to meet the fishermen on high seas and buy off their catch. They then resell to other big-time buyers at the beachfronts, who in turn sell to the market women. Like in gold, to dig for a good catch of fish depends on how far you can dig. Big fishes do not stay in shallow waters, and the type of fish also depends on the nature of the water.
Fish stay according to the size and the water. A small fish will never come to a shallow area. Whereby, if you want a big fish, you will go deep. You will go far to the shore.
Using different materials, patterns, and methods, various types of fish are caught in Ekpe waters for your delight. From the traditional net throwing system to the bamboo pipe tubes or the multi-hook system, the people's creative ingenuity cannot be underestimated. How impressive that a vegetation such as this is actually a ruse for fish to house themselves. And no sooner would they be hauled into raffia-made fish traps planted strategically round the mound. At a point, however, the seeming good fortune of fishermen have to come to an end. This is the off-season, when there are less fishes in the river. In some parts of the world, when the off-season comes, most fishermen remain idle and have to wait until another fishing season commences. But this is not the case in Ekpe. This is because most fishermen in Ekpe also undertake artificial fish farming through construction of ponds, which are located not too far from the river. Why would most fishermen also own ponds?
The time of off-season in Lagoon, so this one is certain. That of the river is uncertain. It's under Paham. But this one, if you got it, you got pond, you introduce stock, you feed. So it will not disappoint you at all. You just need money, you come there, you come and take it. It's just like bank, eh?
Fish farming in Ekpe has therefore been on a steady growth. In this serene, quiet and natural setting are many fish ponds which are providing steady source of income for the fishermen. The ponds are over 400 in number, dotted along the coastline, with catfish being the dominant breed. Combined with deep-sea fishing, little wonder that there are fishes at every corner in this market at Ekpe. Next time you visit Ekpe, be at liberty to walk straight to the beach area to have a feast of the rich variety of fish that Ekpe has to offer. Even when your visit is at a time when fishermen have to return in frustration from sea without any catch, do not worry. There must always be enough fish to eat at Ekpe.
Abolished all over the world over 200 years ago. But today, human traffickers are selling human beings as slaves in Africa. It is your responsibility to make sure that you and the people you know do not fall into slavery. Don't believe fake promises of jobs abroad.
President Buhari has put forward a very bold decision to help with the recharging of Lake Chad Basin. And I have told President Buhari that he has my full support.
Continental pledge of support from the AFDB for federal government's efforts at recharging Lake Chad, addressing insecurity and infrastructure.
Everything is driven by technology, by innovation, by ICT.
Correspondent on sectorial analysis of milestones as the curtain is drawn on 2019 and projections for a new decade. Plus, a presidential marching order to the Diaspora Commission on welfare and safety of Nigerians abroad. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the Network News tonight. I am Kene Ima Abodike. Reading with me are Dotun Ogunyemi in Lagos and Kemi Akiwode in Ibadan. Well, in 3 hours from now, Nigeria will be joining other countries in Africa and Europe to usher in the new year and a new decade. Elsewhere around the world, in Australia, Japan and New Zealand, it's already 2020. Compliments of the season from us here as we begin the countdown. Now to the business of the day. The African Development Bank has pledged total support to the genuine efforts by President Muhammadu Buhari at recharging the receding lake Chad, addressing challenges of security and rebuilding the badly devastated Northeast. President to Free Trade Area Agreement. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
The president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, was in the State House to show formal appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for strongly supporting his candidacy for a second term in office and subsequent endorsement by West African leaders. The engagement centered on the giant strides recorded by the bank under Akinwumi's presidency, as well as ways and means the financial institution can support genuine efforts at securing, stabilizing, and developing Nigeria and indeed the continent for a sustainable future.
President Buhari has put forward a very bold decision to help with the recharging of Lake Chad Basin. And I have told President Buhari that he has my full support. And of course, the African Development Bank is supporting quite a lot in the Northeast area, Northeast region of the country. We provided about $253 million to support basic livelihoods in the Northeast of the country. As we look towards the future, basically our focus is going to be on how do we support the continental free trade area. We'll continue to do a lot of investment in infrastructure. I have said it. We are working very hard on the Lagos-Abidjan highway. That construction of that will start by 2022. All the work is currently now being done. We will continue to invest quite a lot in energy. Power is the source of development. Without energy, you don't have anything. So the bank is going to be investing quite a lot. We secured $115 billion of new capital from our shareholders, which will give a lot of resources for us to support African countries, to support Nigeria and all the other countries to be able to do more. I am an eternal optimist when it comes to Africa. I'm very confident that even the new year will be much better for many African countries.
Dr. Akinwumi also discussed with President Muhammadu Buhari possible areas of collaboration, cooperation and assistance as the Nigerian leader gets set to once again assume the chairmanship of ECOWAS the second time in 3 years.
I came to congratulate him on his election to be chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. Obviously, that's very, very important for economic integration of the region. And as you know, as president of the African Development Bank, the issues that are critical for regional integration are there. The issues of infrastructure are very, very important. Some of the monetary policy issues are very important. And how to make sure that we are able to address the issue of insecurity, which the president has been leading on how to tackle that issue within the region. So I came to exchange some ideas with the president and to offer the president my full support as he takes on the chairmanship of ECOWAS.
With $3.3 trillion worth of trade, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina described the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement as the biggest thing to happen to the continent. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Nigerian economy in 2019 defied predictions of likely plunging into a negative growth pattern to exhibit resilience amid weak revenue generation. Leah Katung Babatunde in this report chronicles the performance of the economy, identifying major drivers.
At the beginning of 2019, the International Monetary Fund put Nigeria's growth at 2%, revised it to 2.3% mid-year, and later again lowered it. Now the World Bank, on the other hand, projected Nigeria to grow at 2.2% and later reviewed it to 2% in the course of the year. These forecasts were hinged on the global price of oil, which is the dominant source of revenue for the Nigerian government. However, the non-oil sector in the course of the year picked up activity driven by agriculture and the services sector.
Everything is driven by technology, by innovation, by ICT, because that's where our youths really flourish.
Nigeria, in the course of the year, signed the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, AfCFTA, closed her land borders to curtail massive smuggling that has impeded local production capacities and crowned her fiscal reforms with a finance bill.
We have given the executive today everything they need. We have given them the budget by passing it. We have given them the finance bills. We have given them the public procurement amendment bill. These are central to ensuring that the implementation of the 2020 budget is improved.
Now we are well positioned to effectively implement the budget and deliver our promises to Nigerians.
The government also increased salaries in line with the minimum wage agreement with the organized labor. The Central Bank of Nigeria played a key role in ensuring price stability, stable exchange rate, and ensuring more lending to the real sector.
Initiate moves towards improving lending to the private sector and urge other intermediary institutions in the financial sector to support these initiatives by improving their credit delivery to boost output growth.
The Monetary Policy Committee kept its rates in check in the face of growing headwinds and uncertainties in the international monetary and financial system. Nigeria's economic growth rose to an annual rate of 2.28% in the third quarter of 2019 after the production of crude oil rose to a more than 3-year high. Nigeria moved 15 places from 2019 on the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index for 2020, ranking 131 and tagged as one of the most improved economies in the world for running a business. The year recorded major listings into the capital market from the telecommunications sector, MTN Nigeria and Airtel. However, the rally that came with them waned to see stocks underperform and unclaimed dividends are ending the year solid.
Even in those losses, there are opportunities because in the capital market, the watchword is that you buy when the prices are low and then you sell when it is high.
Government released 1.212 trillion naira's capital budget for 2019. External reserves remain in comfort zone at $39 billion, and excess crude account closed the year at $324.968 million.
The focus is still the same. It is still to grow the economy. It is to continue the fight against corruption and also to continue to strengthen and enhance the security and the welfare of citizens.
Now, with increased commitments and faithful implementation of policies designed to improve the economy, there's optimism amongst economic and financial experts that Nigeria can only get better. In Abuja, Leah Katung-Babatunde, NTA News.
The year 2019 will occupy a strategic place in history as the year when the search for hydrocarbon in northern Nigeria reached a climax with a positive result. The year also witnessed increasing investments in the upstream and downstream. Lydia Sampson, however, quotes the people as saying the greatest direct impact is seamlessly filling their cars at petrol stations.
Nigeria's oil and gas sector, always in the eye of the storm, is less than 10% of the country's GDP, but contributes about 65% of government revenue, with over 88% of Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings. This is why happenings in the industry impact other sectors of the economy. The drilling of the Kulmani River Well 2 was flagged off by President Muhammadu Buhari in February. The cautious optimism then is today a celebration of positive discovery.
It is good for the economy, it is good for the nation, it is good for the transporters, and it is good for our peaceful coexistence.
The industry will be open up for a lot of things to happen, a lot of activities to unleash.
In the year under review, Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the National Oil Company, NNPC, both had a change in leadership from Emmanuel Ibe Kachuku to Timothy Silva and Mekan Tibaru, the 18 GMD, to Mele Kulu Kiari. These changes for industry players set the stage for the next level in the sector.
Whatever happens in the upstream or midstream, for motorists, it is simply about the downstream.
In the past, it used to be terrible looking for fuel during the holidays. We had to queue for days. But now it's so much better. So I hope it will continue.
This year it has been good. We can see that we can get petrol anytime we want.
Queue of 18 has been the things of the past. As far as I'm concerned,
we have made our plans that will survive us and will make sure that this is sustained, and therefore we have no fears about any fuel scarcity at any time.
The federal government is prioritizing the unlocking and harnessing of Nigeria's gas resource to increase domestic and industrial power supply, as well as support sustainable economic growth and diversification. The 5th Gas Exporting Countries Forum Summit held in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, provided the needed platform to showcase Nigeria in that light to the global community, with President Muhammadu Buhari's participation.
It is a fact that Nigeria is more of a gas nation than petrol.
The mission for the oil and gas is to be a linkage to develop other sectors of the economy.
The President graciously signed the Flare Gas Prevention of Waste and Pollution Regulation 2018 on the 5th of July 2018. That single piece of legislation has revolutionized the industry.
Back home, the final investment decision for the NLNG, which experts says signifies restored confidence of international oil companies in Nigeria's petroleum space, was signed. Critical stakeholders say there seem to be calm, sanity and confidence in the oil and gas sector for now. However, for motorists, this must be sustained, as returning to the era of long wait in petrol stations is not an option. In 2020, the expectations are high, both from the experts and the people, though their focus may differ, but only time will tell. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
And the year 2019 may say has been quite significant for the Ministry of Communications, Whole and Digital Economy. It started the year without that, though. The ministry has had a series of events that have relatively changed the statistics in the value chain, positioning the sector as a front runner. Joseph Johnson has details of some of the defining activities of the ministry.
Nigeria has in recent times been harnessing other alternative means of income other than oil, and ICT seems to be peaking at the right time in Nigeria as it is gaining the most attention globally. The sector in Nigeria received with satisfaction the appointment of Ali Issa Pantami as the Minister of Communications, and within a few weeks, the ministry's name changed to Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy to further expand its mandate to capture the goals of digitization of the Nigerian economy. What's in a name, you might say, but for the ministry, the new nomenclature changed the game for good, because visible indications have shown that while the oil sector contributed 8.82% to the GDP in the second quarter of the year, the contribution of ICT to the country's gross domestic product stood at 13.85% in the second quarter of 2019.
Into emerging technologies. Let us come up with disruptive and crazy ideas that will come back and build applications that will completely disrupt the way we live in Nigeria. That is what we are planning.
Targets and radical approach to solving hitherto difficult problems were introduced. Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) blocked estimated 2.2 million improperly registered SIM cards in September. Telecommunications operators were directed to review the cost of data downwards and desist from illegal service deductions, measures that were received with fanfare by the citizens across board. To feel the pulse of this development, I meet Mariam Kafinga, who tells me how she was a victim of engaging in a transaction with an improperly registered SIM card owner. She is, however, happy things are changing positively in the sector.
When I tried to get back to the resender, I couldn't. And before I realized it, I lost some money. I don't know how that was done, but when I tried tracing the number, I couldn't because it was not registered. Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, they are really doing a good job. I'm really proud. I'm happy with the initiative, and I hope they keep it up to ensure that this initiative goes on a very, very long way.
But that is not the only initiative Nigerians are enthused about from the new thinking in the sector. E-Government Master Plan, which was launched at the E-Nigeria Conference, and the 5G trial demonstrated in the country are all being eagerly awaited.
But they have tried, but I want them in 2020 to put effort so that
this network expecting will not be disturbing us, will not be holding. When you are buying data, sometimes there will not be network.
The duration of my call card, to me personally, has not improved so far. So since they say they are trying to see how they can reduce data costs, I would like for them to do more in 2020.
While Nigerians like Mariam look forward to 2020 with more expectations from the sector, implementation of the ICT master plan and synergy amongst stakeholders, experts say, are the keys to unlocking higher levels of technological development. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
You're watching NTA News at 9, the Judiciary in Focus, when we return after the break.
In the city, talking. In the places where people meet up and be talking. Catch the beat and keep talking this festive season, Nigeria.
This is a special congratulatory message to our Huba professors. On behalf of the Huba people of Adamawa State, I congratulate all Huba sons and daughters elevated to the rank of professor in 2018-2019. You are all shining beacons for the Huba people, worthy examples to our youths and invaluable contributors to the development of the nation and humanity. We remain proud of your enviable achievements. Boss Mustafa, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Announcer.
Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC, Mile Kyari, and the entire staff wish Nigerians and the various stakeholders in the oil and gas industry a Merry Christmas. As petroleum product supplier of last resort, the NNPC wishes to assure you of adequate petroleum product supply to meet all your energy demands in the Yuletide and beyond.
We're very happy to wish our fellow countrymen a successful and a happy Christmas and a New Year in advance. It's a happy moment. We know that everybody will go back and have peace with his families during this Christmas. NNPC is there as always to serve all of Nigerians, to provide the energy security that they desire and they deserve.
The Nigeria State Oil Company advises all players in the oil and gas industry value chain and motorists alike to play according to the rules of the game. NNPC wishes you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
NNPC, we touch your lives in many positive ways. What's football without banter? We love banter. All kinds of banter. Like the banter from a safe distance.
We go beat in later.
There's the "this is still my house" banter.
Dad, 4-0 isn't so bad.
It's not as bad as 0-0.
You're only calling to banter.
It's just someone.
Bad belly banter.
Your team can't even score an own goal.
Dry banter.
I beg, take Joe. This is the only cup your team will be winning this season.
And then there's that. Better banter. Whatever the banter better with Coca-Cola, the official soft drink partner of the English Premier League.
Your information dey important, just like your identity. Now the only way we fit take hala you. Make you go browse easy.gotvafrica.com. Sign in with your IUC number and mobile number and scroll down to personal details and address. Then check well to see say everything bam. You fit change the one we not correct. To finish everything, just click the save button and it don't finish.
Thank you.
I
I make sure say my phone number dey correct. That's now why GoTV fit call me make I come collect my own awoof.
Angel, time for my phone in that way because now my correct phone number dey for book.
GoTV, live it, love it.
Now look me again, no. Make you go do your own.
Welcome back as we now tell you that President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission to ensure that the welfare, well-being and safety of the nation's citizens abroad remain paramount in the execution of its mandate. The chairman and chief executive officer of the commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, announced this while briefing newsmen after an audience with the president.
Instruction, the Commission will engage with Nigerians wherever they are to ensure that we do not take anyone for granted or neglect anyone. It's tough, it's challenging, but I know the Commission is up to the task. So as we move on into the new year, we have started the process of having a diaspora database to know exactly the number of Nigerians in diaspora as accurately as we can, where hopefully we'll have a diaspora policy to be rectified by the Federal Executive Council. And then we continue our engagement. As we look into the new year, we're going to ensure we put diaspora matters on the front burner. And also we'll be engaging the National Assembly to look into the issue of diaspora voting. Nigerians in diaspora believe they should be able to vote, and remitting so much money to the country and contributing so much to the economy, we believe they deserve to vote.
Mr. Abike Dabiri Erewa briefed President Buhari on the activities of the Commission since establishment 7 months ago. Now to the judiciary, where in every election year in Nigeria, the courts across the country have always full with petitions arising from the conduct of the election. 2019 was not an exception as contestants shifted the struggle for power to the doorstep of the judiciary. Dele Atumbi of our judiciary desk reviews the year in terms of adjudication on election matters.
The judiciary, no doubt, has been described as the last hope of the common man, where justice is expected to be dispensed in accordance with the law as it is. As a way of maintaining law and order, judicial pronouncements in accordance with the rule of law must be obeyed. During the course of the year, a sitting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoge, was arraigned before the Code of Conduct Tribunal over non-declaration of assets. The presiding officer at the tribunal, Danladi Umar, found Justice Onoge guilty of the 2-count charge. The National Judicial Council, exercising its power, recommended the immediate retirement of the indicted Chief Justice of Nigeria and the appointment of Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad as his replacement. The justice sector witnessed the continuation of the trial of alleged corruption cases, with 23 former governors standing trial in various courts across the country, with one of them, Oji Uzo Kalu, a sitting senator, sentenced to 12 years in correctional service facility. This brings to 3 the number of former governors serving various jail terms in the country. Jolly Nyame of Taraba State and Joshua Dariye were convicted in 2018.
Our fight against corruption is total, comprehensive, and dispassionate, devoid of any political or ethnic sentiments or inclination.
You give commendation to the administration of President Muhammad Buhari for creating that enabling environment.
In the course of the year, the EFCC secured over 900 convictions, as well as temporary and final forfeiture of properties worth billions of naira. The ICPC also secured the final forfeiture of 25 properties for tax liabilities.
Judiciary as an institution had indeed done wonderfully well in terms of advancing the development of a nation, and is indeed a commendable feat in that respect.
A lot of improvements are being churned out so that litigations, particularly with respect to criminal litigations, are speedily disposed of.
In terms of the compliance with what we thought was coming to revolutionize the judiciary, which is the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, I don't think the judiciary has performed very well, because cases are still largely delayed for a very long time in courts.
During the year under review, the National Judicial Council dismissed some judges, instituted 8 panels to look into allegations against 8 judges, recommended the appointments of new heads of courts, including that of the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice John Toho. As a way of demonstrating its respect for the rule of law, the federal government also directed the DSS to release the former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki and the convener of Revolution Now, Omoyele Sowore, following various court orders. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
The Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Maitama has denied former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Mohammed Bello Adoke bail when the court resumed sitting to hear the bail application filed by the former minister on the grounds of ill health. Defense counsel Benson Iwanoi informed the court that he cannot argue the bail application because the prosecution only served him a preliminary objection this morning. As such, the defense will need time to reply to the objection. Responding, the prosecution counsel Bala Sanga reminded the court of the existing court order to remand Adoke in EFCC's custody till January 2nd, 2020.
So the effect is that he will continue to remain with us, we'll continue to interview him, we'll continue to investigate the matter. That's the impact, that's the effect.
The vacation judge, Justice Uthman Usman, says he will not be available to hear the application when the court order expires. As such, he is transferring the case file to the Chief Judge of the FCT High Court. Mohammed Bello Adoke was arrested on alleged abuse of office and money laundering in the Malibu oil deal. Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested Senator Shehu Sani for alleged extortion of 7.2 million naira from ASD Motors. A statement from the EFCC said Senator Sani collected the money on the grounds that he is very close to the acting chairman of the commission, Ibrahim Magu. He was granted administrative bail after refunding the money and asked to report himself to the commission, but failed to do so, which prompted his re-arrest. The Department of State Services, DSS, has described as spurious and libelous, aimed at undermining the service, the allegations as published by some national dailies that the service is illegally detaining some Nigerians, including Abubakar Idris, a.k.a. Daddy Yatta, and Abwa Jalingo, said to have been arrested in Kaduna and Cross River State, respectively, by the service. The DSS in a statement says that the named persons who were taken away from their homes by armed men does not suggest that those men were DSS staff, emphasizing that the newspapers, Daily Trust and Punch, respectively, should have conducted their investigations before going to press with such falsehood, stressing that the service has no reasons to deny its arrest and detention of suspects if actually it carried it out. The service says it is not out of place for security and law enforcement agencies to arrest and detain lawbreakers or those suspected to be. The arrest and detention of suspects are procedural and undergo continuous review. Federal government's fight against corruption continues to produce positive results with forfeitures of property acquired through fraudulent means. Some forfeited properties are already being put to productive use, one of which is a structure that will now serve as corporate headquarters of the National Directorate of Employment. Onengia Fineface reports.
The Directorate is now moving from its 4-story rented apartments to an 8-story corporate headquarters in Abuja. Signing the dotted lines marks the official handover of the structure to the NDE by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
This is another evidence to show and to prove that the government of President Muhammadu Buhari is indeed serious about fighting corruption, is indeed serious about increasing the capacity of ministry, departments and agencies by allowing them to have their own properties, which of course some of these properties are processes of crime.
With what we have received from EFCC and the letters of certification that are given to us, I'm telling you already arrangement has been put in place. We are going to be adequately funded by the federal government so that we can have this building put in place.
Now, Director General of the NDE understands that to whom much is given, much more is expected. And he is determined to make the NDE serve Nigerians more effectively as landlords. In Abuja, Onenkiye Fineface, NTA News.
In agriculture, the federal government is providing job opportunity for more than 1,000 youths in 6 states through a project tagged Agro-Processing, Productivity Enhancement and Livelihood Improvement Support Scheme. The beneficiaries will be engaged along 3 value chains of aquaculture, poultry and rice, as well as dairy products. Musa Baba Aliyu reports.
Victoria Oluwakemi is among the youth participating in the federal government and World Bank Agricultural Support Program. Her vision is to get technical know-how on production and processing of fish to start her own business without relying on government job.
I believe by the time we go out into the labor market, there will be a greater farmer.
Kemi and other 3,000 youths participating in the training at this center are being equipped with necessary skills in all aspects of agriculture value chain, including marketing strategy.
We've been well drilled, we've been well tutored, we've been well nurtured, and we want to promise them that we're also going out there to impact what they have built into us, into the community.
Not just about 350 youths and women that are empowered, it's actually a multiplier effect because more people will be employed even by these beneficiaries.
The capacity building will be followed up with grants to finance sub-projects and mentorship.
The first batch of the selected beneficiaries have been undergoing practical trainings that are designed to build their capacity.
The enthusiasm in them, the interest they are picking. We have all the resource persons, the facilitators coming to put them through the basic aspects based on the module produced for this training.
The development objective of the APIS project is to increase the agricultural productivity of small and medium-scale farmers and to improve processing and marketing that will foster job creation along the value chain. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Ahmad Salihijo Ahmad as the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Rural Electrification Agency. Ahmad Salihijo, a renewable energy expert, holds 2 master's degrees in development studies and project planning and has acquired vast knowledge and experience in power sector development. He is an indigene of Adamawa State. Also appointed are Olaniyi Alaba Netufo as Executive Director Southwest and Eddie Mietuade Smith Julius as Non-Executive Director South-South. We now join Dotun in Lagos for more stories. Hello, Dotun.
Thank you, Kenneth, and welcome to Lagos. A book that captures the life experiences of former Chief of Naval Staff has been presented to the public in Lagos. Imolayo Tokede reports that the 500-page book is titled Riding the Storms with God in My Sails, the autobiography of Rear Admiral Alison Madueke.
The autobiography, which contains 16 chapters, examined the author's childhood to war years, major life-changing assignments in public and professional career, as well as his views and reflections on the nation. The author of the book, 75-year-old Admiral Alison Madueke, former Chief of Naval Staff, also served as military governor of Old Anambra and Imo States. He stated that the book is his way of extending gratitude to God for a successful service to the nation.
And I think it's better we tell our stories. I decided to tell my story so that no other person tells it for me.
The author has written with lucidity, deliberate clarity, uncommon authority that portrays a keen awareness of his surroundings and events.
The book launch had in attendance high-achieving statesmen, royal fathers, past and serving military personnel, as well as captains of industry.
It reflects his own views of what people had contributed to his life.
The book mirrors the author's near-fatal encounters and battlefront experiences during the Nigerian Biafra hostilities, among other life stories. This the author recommends not only to politicians and civil servants, but as a reference point for researchers and history students. In Lagos, Imole Ayotokide, NTA News.
Internally displaced persons in Lagos State have benefited from the benevolence of a non-governmental organization and the spirit of the season. This was demonstrated during the donation of relief materials to the Igondo Emergency Relief and Resettlement Camp in Alimosho. Ruth Ariosamo reports.
Disasters, be it natural or man-made, usually affect lives and property, leaving its victims and the community in a devastating condition, and in most cases has negative impact on their social and economic developments. It is this knowledge and many other reasons that these group of women decided to pay a visit to victims of disasters who are being relieved at the Igondo camp. Items donated include clothing materials, beverages, toiletries, drinking water, and food items. The idea, according to the leader of the team, Yalode of Lagos, who is also the president of the foundation, Chief Mrs. Bintu Fatima Tinubu, is an expression of love to the needy.
They are not here nor there. That's why we decided that this is the time we should put succor to their lives.
They need help. It's not their making. Please let us join hands to love them as well and help them.
The Director General, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, described the gesture as support to government's response and recovery efforts to emergency.
Disaster management is everyone's business, and we are appealing that we should work better together.
The Igondo Emergency Relief and Resettlement Camp under the Ministry of Special Duties and Emergency Management Agency was established in 2014 with a capacity of about 700 to 1,000 people to serve as a relief facility to victims of disaster and emergencies in the state. In Lagos, Ruth Ariosamo, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Network News continues after this time out. Please stay tuned.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
Season's greetings from FCMB, My Bank and I.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
We have come to the end of another successful year, and we wish to appreciate all those that mean so much to us. Our sponsors, our clients, government at all levels, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, and above all, you, our esteemed viewer. Together, we made 2019 great. Together, we shall make 2020 even greater. That is why we say, thank you. This is wishing you Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Welcome back. And now for details of trading activities of the Nigerian Stock Exchange on the last day of 2019. Let's join Amina Nujaim. Good evening.
Good evening. The last trading day of 2019 closed 2.5 hours earlier than the usual time, with the equities market closing the year negative, defying predictions by experts earlier in the year that the market would close positive. The OSHA index appreciated by 0.87% to close at 26,842.07 basis points. This is against a 0.73% appreciation recorded on a Monday. Its year-to-date return stands at minus 14.60%. Top trades had Omoluabi Mortgage Bank PLC with 796 million, leading the chart, followed by Access Bank 47, as well as United Bank for Africa. The top gainers were led by Seplat advancing 10% and Stanbic 5.13%, WAPCO 9.29%. And to facilitate the development of the Nigerian payment system and deepen the adoption of various electronic payment options available to users, the Central Bank of Nigeria has identified the predominant use of single messaging formats for POS transactions as an obstacle to the use of pre-authorization as a mode of payment in Nigeria. A circular on pre-authorization of cards in Nigeria states that CBN's new directive is to enable pre-authorization sales competition of card transactions. In the meantime, the National Insurance Commission has extended the recapitalization deadline for insurance companies earlier slated for June 30, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. The extension was announced in a circular to all insurance and reinsurance companies, where the Commission said it had reviewed the recapitalization plan submitted by operators and various levels of compliance. And that's a wrap from the business desk. Kenny, it's back to you.
We're looking forward to 2020.
Definitely.
All right, let's go to labor matters now, where so many contentious issues generated a lot of controversies in the circle in 2019, but almost all seems to have been brought to rest at the end of the year. The biggest certainly was the agreement and payment of the new minimum wage and the accruing arrears to federal civil servants. Labor correspondent Emmanuel Ayemiro reviews the labor sector in 2019.
2019 began with the Ministry of Labour and Employment under pressure from the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, over the 2009 agreement and shortfalls in salaries due to non-participation in the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS. An agreement was reached and some payment made to prevent industrial unrest, while the issue of the IPPIS remained unresolved.
There is an agreement for government to make some fund available.
When a sum of 20 billion is mentioned, you have to view it against the backdrop of what the total sum is about.
The non-academic universities teaching staff also came up with similar complaints on earned allowances and the 2009 Memorandum of Understanding, a challenge yet to be fully resolved.
The understanding that was reached gave a 5-week period for the implementation of payment of a fraction of the arrears owed on earned allowances to our members.
With issues raised by unions in the health, aviation, banking, power, and other sectors, industrial relations through continuous engagement of labor through social dialogue prevailed in 2019. But what was of paramount interest to workers was the signing of the new national minimum wage of 30,000 naira into law by President Muhammadu Buhari after marathon meetings to prevent industrial unrest.
Increase in the lowest paid person at 30,000 naira for grade level 1, step 1. that the grade level 07 officers should move up by 23.2%.
It was a collective process.
I received mine on the 30th of December, the 8-month arrears.
Government has proven itself of its integrity.
Nigeria became the first African country to host the International Labour Organization Global Youth Employment Forum on Decent Work, with the Director General of ILO visiting Nigeria for the second time in 60 years.
Failure to provide a space in our societies, in our world of work for young people, would constitute and does constitute a challenge to the very welfare, sustainability and stability of all of our countries.
Ahead of the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, AfCFTA, General Assembly of ECOWAS also held Decent Work Regional Program in Abuja.
It will also foster the achievement of the goal of human-centered approach to the future of work.
The labor sector in 2020 is expected to be relatively quiet, but for the impasse between ASU and the federal government over enrollment into the IPPIS. Emmanuel Ayemi Rowe, NTA News.
Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the paramount ruler of Aba, Dr. Isaac Ikonen Enyuwan, on his 91st birthday anniversary. The president, in a statement, describes the traditional ruler as a reservoir of wisdom and knowledge, who is also a fountain of inspiration for present and future generations. According to the president, the paramount ruler, living to 91 years of age and presiding over the affairs of his community for 45 years, are milestones achievable only by the kindness of God. The president prays God to grant the Enyuwan of Aba more wisdom, good health, and many more years on earth to continue to render service to humanity. Over now to Kemi in Ibadan to give us 2020 projections from that zone. Hello, Kemi. Happy New Year to you in advance.
And welcome to Ibadan. Compliments of the season to you. The 365 days that made year 2019 is winding down to the last minute. Against this background, Nigerians have started expressing their hopes and projections as all mark for 2020. Larry Bileyi, who went around the metropolis, spoke with some Nigerians.
Flipping through the pages of history of year 2019, there were developments one could point at, from its sixth national election since its return to democracy in 1999 to rehabilitation of infrastructural facilities, continued no retreat, no surrender to insecurity and corruption. This development would no doubt have a rippling effect into 2020. So what are the projections for the new year?
We are grateful to the federal government of Nigeria for the work being done on the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. Our appeal and expectation is that they complete all these projects within the year 2020.
But we must all look at ourselves as stakeholders. That sense of nationality, whereby you see Nigeria as yours, as mine. That is sense of patriotism must be built now.
We hope that in 2020 we are going to have a better year.
Nigerians also believed that more effort should be made in tackling socio-economic challenges which will reduce poverty through small and medium-scale enterprises, revamping agricultural value chain, and a paradigm shift in the nation's socio-political philosophy. In Ibadan, Larry Bileyi, NTA News.
Parents and guardians have been advised to always monitor their children, particularly young girls and ladies, towards protecting them from criminals who are lurking around pretending to be friends. Ogun State Police Commissioner said this while parading a 23-year-old man who killed his girlfriend for a money-making rituals with the aid of a self-acclaimed prophet at the State Command Headquarters, Ilewe Abeokuta. Adeni Taiwo has the details.
Nothing about Adiako Wulabi, 23, and Shegun Phillips, a self-acclaimed prophet, suggests that they are capable of murder. But the duo are the principal suspect, where a 22-year-old final year student of Lagos State University, Favour Dali Oladele, was killed without mercy in a bid to make quick wealth.
It was me and Olusegun that we knew that we are about to use a human being that we kill.
Owolabi's mother, Bola Adeeko, who ate the concoction prepared with the vital organs of Favour, was also apprehended, parading the suspect before newsmen. The Commissioner of Police in Ogun State, Kenneth Abramson, said his men trailed the suspect via the phone of the victim,
which revealed that the missing girl's child was lured to a place called Ikoile of Ikere in Osun State by her boyfriend.
He advised parents to always monitor their children and watch who they associate with. In all, 24 other suspects, including 6 minors, were paraded by the police for other crimes. From Abeokuta, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
That's it from Ibadan. The news continues after the break as we link you with other parts of the world that have heralded the new year.
As Nigerians count down to 2020, Games of 2019 in focus plus projections on NTA Tuesday Live this week. The program at 10:30 p.m. promises to be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes, and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, fearless, loyal, and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
It is indeed befitting to honor the memory of the gallant hearts of young men who paid the supreme sacrifice to keep the country united.
President Muhammadu Buhari enjoins all ministries, parastatals, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to these accounts. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
On sports updates, Ayodeji Makinde brings us the concluding version of our review.
Nigeria's reputation as the hub of regional and international tournaments expanded in 2019 with the Nigeria Ladies Golf Open at the IBB International Golf and Country Club Abuja as Uganda's handicap 4 player Irene Nakalembe dethroned 2018 champion Eva Magala, with Nigerian golfers playing second fiddle.
Somebody come from somewhere and then beat us up. Anyway, we will revenge next time. We'll go to their country and beat them too.
In another twist, Nigeria Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick was replaced by South Africa's Danny Jordan as the Confederation of African Football Vice President, even as FIFA named Panama and Costa Rica as co-hosts for 2020 Under-20 World